much bigger area on the other side. And I wondered why, when it was built like that, why it wasn't the bigger side for the post office and the smaller side used as overflow. And that, you know, the curbs seem really high. Now, I know it's going to be paved, but still, you know, I'm curious as to how high those curbs are. And added with that is that what's happening is people are parking in the grocery store parking lot and walking across the non-existent crosswalk. And at the end of that crosswalk is a huge hole now. So that's the other thing I don't understand. Why don't we at least have cones or something out there so somebody doesn't get hit? These just seem like normal things to take care of. And I know the state is involved with some of that, but it seems like we could do something. So I guess that's all I have to say.
And if you're saying that it is a state highway, so there are issues with that. But that doesn't mean, and our doing something is approaching the state, and that's what, so that is what we can do. We can approach the state, but we do have.
It's not done yet. It'll all be signed and it'll all be marked out, and we put the handicap in for, you're right, there's only 2 spots, but to get to the post office, you gotta go in and around and park in that larger area. That's where most of the parking places are.
Right.
But again, the paving is due to be done, started Friday, and we hope to have the bathroom will start, the bathroom will be delivered November 1st, and it'll be all done. There's a bathroom.
But the crosswalk is the most important.
When they do the paving, they'll fill in the gaps.
And so what time frame was that again?
Well, it's supposed to be then the 18th, but it's always weather dependent and the ability of
It just seems to me the city can do something.
It
I
is.
don't care if
There are cones, but there are something there. The crosswalk, we have nothing. But the cross.
You're not involved with taking care of the.
No, it's state highway.
But this is still the city of Cascade Locks.
But it's a state highway.
But you could still put something on the sidewalk, or you could do something.
We have something there where that hole is there at the end of the crosswalk.
You have 2 cones, and you have a hole right there.
Right.
But that doesn't delineate the fact that there's a crosswalk. People don't know there's a crosswalk. That's what I'm getting at. I know
okay,
it's.
I got it.
Like until, yeah.
But, yes.
We've been discussing that at the action meeting. It is being handled by ODOT, isn't it? Crosswalk?
The crosswalks will be when they do the paving next spring. Yeah, and it's all going to be fixed. But what she's talking about is what we can do right now. We can't go paint the crosswalk on there.
So your question on it is you'd like to see a better crosswalk?
I'd like to see
The
something.
crosswalk marked better.
Right, so that
Now, I don't know the whole, I haven't been there.
Because there are so
The hole's
many.
coming off the main street, or the hole is?
It's on the
On the
curb.
gravel
It's
side.
on the curb next to where they did the.
Right, so what people are doing is they're parking at the grocery store and they're walking across the crosswalk.
Won't use lock, yeah.
Right, and then when they get to that point, then there's a hole. So, you know, that's not very convenient, but my biggest concern is the fact that people can't tell the crosswalk.
Okay, well, we can, yep, there's a state guy right there.
It's not a popular answer, but the answer is that isn't a crosswalk. As far as the city, I mean, it's there, we all know it, but that's a state highway, and that crosswalk is not a state highway crosswalk. There are only 2 official state highway crosswalks in Cascade Locks, and they are associated with school. One is down by Eastwind Driveway, and the other one is at School Road. So, but that is being addressed. We've fought this for years because people cross the bridge side. People cross at the post office.
Right.
People cross, across the from like the Shell.
Right, yes.
And they cross up here.
Right.
Most of those, I'm not sure about this one up here, but those are being addressed when ODOT comes through town and does the crosswalks with pedestrian bulb outs. It just shortens it up a little bit, makes it easier for people.
And so that'll be happening in the
Yeah, and I don't have that scheduled.
The paving is scheduled for the last 2 weeks of May in 2020. We have to replace all of the handicap ramps first. There's 56 of them, that's gonna take all year. The issue we have is if we went and painted what people perceive as a crosswalk and somebody gets hit by it, and it's not sanctioned by ODOT, the city is liable. And our insurance company would just scream. Now, we've had that painted there for years and years and years, but it's never been approved by ODOT.
So, okay, and I don't mean to take up your time, but I
No,
just,
that's why you're here.
so, just so I'm clear, so it's just like any place else, like if you were at the East Wind Drive, and you decided you wanted to get out of the car, you wanted to cross the street, that's up to you.
There is but that's anywhere. It's anywhere.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, so what looked to me at the beginning as being a painted crosswalk was really never a crosswalk, it's something that the city did to appease people.
Somebody, I mean, I don't know.
No, the city, the city did years and years and years ago, and we've refreshed it, we've maintained it. But when we first started talking about paving Winterbottom, and the state came in and said, that's not legal, it's not signed, there's nothing about it that's legal. And so when they give us the notice that says that's not legal, if we go in and make it look legal, then the liability is no longer on the state, it's all on the city.
Okay, that's more clear to me, now that I understand that it was never really a crosswalk.
Yeah, but when Bobby is correct, when we get the paving done and we get the whole place striped, we'll have parking spaces striped throughout town, and we'll have 6 approved crosswalks.
Right.
That'll be one.
That will be one.
And we've been fighting for that for,
Yeah, and the curbs will all be ADA compliant.
Oh, okay, that was fine.
yeah.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go back here and sit and see what else is going
Nancy? Sure. Just let us know who you are.
And before I say I want to say that, trying to get into the post office, we did see this one, almost got over something, and fell into this, and that walkway is wide, so we really, it's not the easiest thing to get here. Yes, and I think, got fired last night, in the our EMS crew, and we had space clean out, and the kids loved all over the fire engines and everything else. And I wanted, we have a good team, and John did a great job. Kids just loved it. We had a manager from, but it was really great, because it didn't get 1%. They start learning it was really good. Everybody had a lot of, and especially desserts. Boy, did we. But I want to thank you. I hope all next year, because we get on and just for me, have super amazing coordinate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's all we have signed. Does there anybody else any other citizens want to come up?
I just, down.
Uh-huh.
The new fire chief and his wife are motivated to make it family-friendly fire department. They're going to have 3 nights, family 3 nights station, and they have volunteered to deliver our Christmas baskets 2 days before Christmas that we have to orchestrate in the city hall gym. The moving plant. So they're going to be out with their trucks delivering some of those, which will look.
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate. I guess. They moved down here immediately, so they said, hey, you got it. They moved right into town, so. Yeah, well, good.
He said she volunteered.
Good. Yeah. Okay, anybody else? All right, here we go. Now it's your turn.
All right. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Patty Fink, and I'm the Executive Director for Columbia Area Transit. So I'm your local public transit provider in Hood River County. And I'm going to talk a little bit today. It shouldn't be too long. We're getting ready to do some more proposed improvements. Hopefully you guys have been following along and know that transit service has been increased in your community, and we're hoping to do even more. So I'm going to just start, for those of you who, let's see if I can get this correct here. Here we go.
Is that better? Can everybody see that better?
For those of you who don't know, in 2017, the Board of Directors, or Columbia Area Transit, or Hood River County Transportation District, is what they call a special district in Hood River County, and so we get our money from different sources, largely state and federal grants. The board completed a transit master plan in 2017. The focus of the plan was in two particular areas. First, on service to low-income areas, Cascade Locks, Odell, and Parkdale were particularly mentioned and called out, and focusing more on fixed route service than we had in the past. So largely Hood River County was largely a dollar ride service, and most people associated us with service for the seniors and elderly. We are trying to expand. We still provide quite a few trips for seniors and persons with disabilities, but we are also now trying to expand to different population segments. Yeah. We do have a lift bus. We have 10, all of our buses are lift equipped. So anybody who needs service who's in a wheelchair or needs service helping them up. And we also have 2 low floor buses, so it makes it easier for folks to roll on, or to those who can't climb stairs to go on there. Let's see. Still trying to figure this one out here. So I was hired in the fall of 2017, and we began immediately to begin implementing the plan. So in 2017 and 18, we made regular service to Odell and Parkdale with what is called a deviated fixed route. That means it deviates off to pick folks up, but will come on a regular basis to the community. Same was true here in Cascade Locks, and we started a fixed route in June 2018, and an AM/PM commuter bus to Portland, which also stops in Cascade Locks. We also started that in June of 2000. In 2019-2020, we've proposed some new services still. We're going to start a brand new service taking over what is now known as the Columbia Gorge Express that ODOT runs. We're going to expand that service to the Dalles. We currently provide service to the Dalles, so it'll provide the connection between the Dalles and Portland. We're going to extend the Hood River City route to 8 o'clock. We have heard from a variety of retailers that their employees need to get home later in the evening, so we've listened to that. We'll expand that as well in November. We're looking to extend weekend service to the city route in the Upper Valley, and that Dalles to Portland bus, as you'll see in a minute, will also expand weekend service to Cascade Locks. 2020, we also hope to expand our dial ride and special needs services. I just had a conversation with the school district, and one of the areas that they're looking for us to help to fill in some gaps is particularly before what they call the 0 hour, before school activities and after school activities. So we'll be doing some of those. We'll also be doing outreach with the community on doing more shopping shuttles, so bringing folks from Cascade Locks into Hood River on particular days, or from Odell or Parkdale. So we're looking also to not just expand for everybody, but also focusing on those folks with largest needs. In addition, and that will happen beginning tomorrow, the board will begin a discussion on a fair program for low-income families that would allow for folks who are low income to ride it at less cost. What I wanted to talk with you, hitting the wrong button, sorry. What I wanted to talk with you tonight about is the Columbia Gorge Express expansion. So, as you may know, we're the Columbia Gorge Express, which ODOT runs 3 times a day, 7 days a week. Stops in Gateway, Multnomah Falls, Cascade Locks, and Hood River. So we will be taking that service on. We'll be adding a stop in Troutdale, Wood Village area. Again, continuing to stop at Multnomah Falls, continuing to stop every trip in Cascade Locks, Hood River, and going all the way onto the Dalles. This is just to give you an idea of what the service will likely be like. In the morning, you'll be able to get a bus at 6 a.m. that will get you to Gateway, which is in the Portland metro area. It's just on the outskirts. It's actually a major transit hub for TriMet, and it will allow you to get anywhere you need to go in the Portland metropolitan area. There'll be a stop going to Portland at 6 a.m., 7:30, 11:30, 12:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5:35. Coming back from Gateway going to Cascade Locks, you'll be able to leave Portland at 7 o'clock in the morning, arriving in Cascade Locks just before 8 at 7:50. Leaving Gateway at 8:30, arriving at 9 just before 9:30, 12:30, 1:30, etc. So there will be quite a bit of frequency between Portland and Cascade Locks, but there'll also be service continuing on from Cascade Locks onto Hood River and vice versa. So going from Hood River on back to Cascade Locks, and also onto the Dalles. So those of you wanting to go to do shopping or whatever else you need to do in the Dalles can take the bus all the way without having to transfer. The weekends will also have similar service. We'll not quite provide as much commuter service, but we'll still be starting at from here off at 7:30 in the morning, getting into Gateway around 8 o'clock, and vice versa, starting at Gateway and getting into Cascade Locks around 9:20. The focus of this service will largely be for tourists and tourism. What we're hoping is that we'll be able to bring folks from Portland out here to hike and bike and do all the wonderful things that there are here, and then go home at night or stay the night. So either of those two things, but allowing to sort of maintain and provide some economic development opportunities for your community, as well as the rest of the Gorge communities on the way. One of the things, and I'm almost done now, in terms of this new service is marketing will be a key to success. We're asking the city and all the cities along the route, as well as all the chambers and all the business communities, to help us partner with us to promote the service, to promote passes, the sale passes, and to help us promote this area and the service in the Portland-Vancouver area. So we know that without sort of being able to be successful in the Portland, Vancouver area and get folks out here, we won't be able to sustain the service. So part of that is really providing a push so we get some of the money that is in that big community out there and to the west of us back out here and to the east. The other thing that we're hoping to do with Cascade Locks, and I didn't include the slide in a lot of other slides, but is working on joint projects to increase ridership through transit and land use, through a combined transit land use strategy. We've been working with the port on two areas. One is the railroad site, and they've been looking to potentially see if they can get that spot just offside. If you, as you're turning down to go towards the
railroad, right?
Yeah, the railroad area there. And we'd like to see that potentially be either a park and ride site for folks to park and ride, or some other joint development between us and the port, or the city and the port all together, to develop that area and have it be a focus where people can know that they can catch transit, get to where they need to go. And also the little bit further on the way is there's a site, some conversations around the airport site and sort of redevelopment of how that might look and how transit might play a role to help folks who might be looking for housing in that area. So what we're trying to do is connect our services to allow for increased access both here in Cascade Locks as well as throughout the gorge. And then, as I mentioned before, just working on tourism marketing to Portland.
Printed like rack cards or schedule.
Not yet, but we are working on that. Our service will begin November 4th, so we hope to have our new printed schedules out by the 28th of October.
So it might be helpful if there was a plan that once you get rack cards for sure, like where would be strategically, where would be helpful to place this?
That'd be great. I'd love to have community input on where we can do that. We've been working with some folks in the community, but we'd like to. It's the first time I've been before you all, so I just, one of the things I'd like to say, and maybe I'm going to move over here now that my slideshow is done, is just that we'd like to begin to have more active conversations with the council in general, and to find out what your needs are on a more sort of focused level, and how we can partner on a variety of different things, both to enhance transit service, but also to enhance your economic development and your other affordable housing and other types of development goals which I think we have.
So would it be helpful to get a list from council of strategically where you would like your rack cards, or where you'd like your promotion?
Sure, we would love to have
Is that something the council could do, or?
You guys have some schedules on that boards. I was just noticing that today.
Yep. Yeah, and
Maybe just a whole list of.
yeah,
If
Yeah,
there
we
is
can
one.
approach the business.
yeah. And we're happy to make posters if those are, easy for folks to put up. So we just, whatever gets the message out fast.
Is there not now?
Right now, it's so I think it's still pretty affordable, but it's $1. So it's $1 from here. You can't go to Portland $1, but you can go to Wood River or the Dalles on $1. So that's pretty affordable. If you get picked up at your home, we call that a dial ride trip, and it's $2. It costs us a little more to buy that trip. But yes, that's right. They're not new buses, but you've noticed them more because they are purple.
Will there eventually be an electronic kiosk where you buy or something like that?
So that's a good question. We don't have any immediate plans, but you can actually buy your tickets online right now.
Oh, that might be it.
So if you have an app, a phone that has apps, go online and we support a program called Hop Through, and you can actually purchase your ticket you can actually purchase a book of tickets or a pass of tickets and then use it on your phone, activate it to get, it's actually pretty slick. We're also, and whether you know it or not, we also have upgraded, so we have transit tracking technology on the buses, so you can actually see where your bus is. So if it's late, you can tell where it's hung up. So you just go to the bus that you're waiting on, and it'll let you know, gosh, you know, it really got hung up on it. There was an accident, and it got hung up a couple miles down the road, or it's just late coming out of Hood River or whatever. So we're trying to make it a little more, get us up into the 21st century a little bit with transit service, but we'd also, we think, particularly in this community, there's a lot of ways that we can partner with you on development projects. There's a big push at FTA and at HUD to do joint developments and to work on opportunities, both for commercial and residential housing developments, and we'd love to be able to work with you on those kind of ideas. So,
Thank you. Now, I know on these things, so this is a great thing for Cascade, and a great thing for the Gorge. But all great things have some issues that arise. I had a conversation with our store owner down here. Prior to the buses, he relied on a lot of the crest trail hikers. We had a lot of them in town, so when they're in here, they were kind of stuck here. So the store did a really good business. The previous owner informed them of what he was going to need for them, so he bought all of that and had that in there. But then when the buses came, they were all jumping on the buses and going elsewhere, and they're not buying. So he only sold he lost about half of his business to the hikers. So, and all I'm saying that is not to say buses got to go. It's to say that we need to also take a look at how we go about helping make sure that the capital, and that's part of that. So too, Cascade Locks got to figure out how we can compete with these other communities that the bus is going to be going.
Yeah, and I think in many senses you are really well positioned. You're really sort of at the hub of the eastern end of the west, through the Columbia Gorge waterfall, and where most of the people from Portland want to go. And that's what I've been saying is we can get folks from Portland out here. Your store owner can do more than his business with those folks and their families coming out doing a hike. I was talking with somebody else that I actually grew up in Portland and hiked throughout the gorge all my life. Love the gorge. Finally came out here and working out here now. But one of the things that I was saying, had I known, I was unaware that there was that little Dry Creek Trail Falls, and that's a great hike for little kids. It's a perfect, it's got a destination. It's not that far. It isn't really steep. It's a perfect little hike. And even my son, who's 18 now, we've hiked it several times now because it's just a really sweet hike. But I think you could get a lot of families and kids coming out on the bus and just hiking that trail, and then spend the day eating lunch or just hanging out, or even staying in Cascade Locks. And I think there's really a lot of possibility, and you have so much beautiful spot here. I mean, really, it's lovely, and I think it can do a heck of a job marketing it.
Hey, Sandy, got a question. Maybe you already talked about this, but where are the pickup points and drop points for these buses?
So right now, the main pickup point is in front of the, it picks up to go to Hood River. It's just in the port. Thank you. And then and on the reverse side up there, that's the main stop. It did for a while. We didn't want it causes some tension between the folks who are using our It's just at the Justice Court and sort of on the other side, not quite to the post office, but very
On the main street.
on the main street. And what we're also looking at is, as you know, as you develop your community and potentially having something on Forest Lane. So rather than hitting on the freeway and going back, we go down Forest Lane and offer some opportunities to do that. We have quite a number of folks in that Winsong area who ride the bus, and so we're looking at a stop there. We don't have one there yet, but
Very good system.
yeah, thank you.
Bruce, is there anything you wanted to ask or say?
Not at this time, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
I think it's a great. I talked to one of the bus drivers, and she said numbers had really picked up since they had moved out of the store parking lot onto the main. They had a lot of.
Yeah, this summer was hot for us, and part of it was we were carrying quite a few PCT hikers, both to Hood River and back, but also just generally the amount of tourists that are coming through. I don't know, Pacific Crest Trail, we saw full buses going to and from.
I used to shuttle them.
Yeah.
Before work, after work, probably 10, 15 messages every morning.
Yeah.
I'm hiking in, can I get a ride to Portland? I bought a van just for that. Now I have a soccer mom van and no little kids.
Yes.
But I really appreciate the bus system. That was very much needed. My daughter rides it as well to get to work.
Oh, I'm glad that's what we're trying to sort of make it both for commuters. We hope that there are people here that are working in Hood River or in Portland might want it, and we do actually carry a couple of folks that work in Portland. But also we're sort of wanting to expand, particularly into the youth market. I think that there's an opportunity for a lot of high school kids and
She's 17.
Yeah.
She feels very confident using it. I think I've only picked her up one time when she's missed it.
well, I'm glad. That's great.
Okay.
Have you had the opportunity to talk to the crew?
We have talked with the business community here, and we also have a strong relationship with the Hood River Chamber.
We have here.
Do you have a chamber?
No, we have a tourism.
Tourism. Oh, tourism.
Tourism.
I have not talked with them, and I'm more than happy to have a conversation with them. So, yeah, okay, I'll talk to Gordon.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to, I'd love to come back again. So thanks so much.
Thanks. Did you get your stick? You want your phone?
Oh, yeah, I better get that, huh? That has all my important information on it, sir. You want me to turn that off?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do that. See if we can make it work. There you go. There you go.
Projector off too. Perfect, thank you.
All right. Have a nice meeting.
Well, thanks for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, city administrator, Zimmerman's report.
Thank you. Couple of things tonight. Our new accounting clerk, Rose Dominguez, started this morning. Please stop by the office and say hi. Good to meet her. You're welcome to do that. Number two, Captain Logan, I called you a couple of weeks ago to make an offer to Mr. Jesse White. He is considering the offer. He's also being recruited by Hood River. So he's just trying to decide whether to go to the city of Hood River or the city of Cascade Locks. But we do have another higher recommendation, Mr. Paul Martin. He's a firefighter paramedic from Newport right now. He's worked in Prosser, Kennewick, and Pasco, Washington. Can I go ahead and authorize the chief to extend that offer of employment? That would give us 4. He's going to have to be here. Yeah. And I don't know where he's gonna live, but, you know,
Yeah. Good luck.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you all good with that?
thank you.
Yeah, we need some paramedic.
Yeah, and that'll, depending, if Mr. White does not accept our position, we do have a third candidate that has been vetted. Like that. So we can get that fourth position filled. So, again, I'll call him if I need to. EMS activity report. For the month of September, we had 35 calls. That's a little above our average of 31 a month. Hood River Fire responded 5 times. Something like that. Yeah. They responded to the 3 calls in Multnomah County, because that's where their coverage is. Skamania was dispatched 7 times. Twice they came and were not needed, and so they returned. And they did transport or respond 5 times. That left 20 for our volunteers. John is working very hard at covering everything he can, but when we get the 4, 2 paramedics and 2 EMTs in place, we'll have the ability to respond much more. We also did gain 2 volunteers and 1 student firefighter during the month of September, and we had a new volunteer form filled out and turned in today. So John is recruiting people to come and do firefighting for us. The Public Works activity report, just the projects that the water and the wastewater and the electric department have been working on. The Moody Street project, where we had to lay in water and wastewater services to those 3 buildings that are coming in. We had to lay new water line because the old water line, or excuse me, new sewer line, because the sewer line was too deep. And so we reevaluated that or repositioned that so it'll work better. But again, that's the projects, the big projects they've been working on, along with the normal routine projects. The Public Works also inspected the Gorge Hubs project. As the lady indicated, it should be a whole lot better when it's done, but work in process. They probably shouldn't be driving on it, but you know, people are. We have to keep it open for the post office people, but other people should probably park in the grocery parking lot and walk across the street. On our wastewater project, the USDA approved the engineering contract, so we can now begin the design engineering. At somewhere around 30% completion, we're going to ask our operators to come in and their Jacobs Engineering to come in to give us comments on the design. It makes sense to have the people who are going to operate the plant to look at the design to make sure, number 1, that they can operate it. 2, they might have some suggestions that will make it easier to operate. So we're planning to do that when we get to about 30% design completion. Engineering will take a year, and after that year, it'll take 2 years to complete the project. So we're looking to like October of 2022, before it's completed. On our water system improvement project, we're currently out to bid for the well, the new well, and that should be completed by February of 2020. And then we should have adequate water supply needs for the next 20 years based on our water master plan. Our corrosion control project, when you work with the government likes to come out and check all of your paperwork to make sure that it's all done and correct and everything. And we had our corrosion control paper closeout today, and we passed. A couple of just minor issues that we're working with the engineer on. The test and training will be done next Monday, and depending upon how well that goes, we should have the soda ash online and operating end of November, and then that project will be completed. We are required to have it completed by October of 2020, and we will make that date. So that's good. Last time we talked about a joint letter between the city and the port. Glenda had some good suggestions to make, so we rewrote the letter. Glenda reviewed it, approved it, and the mayor signed it. and we ship that off to the Department of Aviation to continue that process. Power usage. If you haven't been out to the industrial park lately, you might want to drive by and see this structure that is being built for free. It's impressive. 23,000 square feet. When it is done, and when Renewal Workshop's 40,000 square foot building is completed, when Hoyker's 16,000, I think it is, or 20,000 square foot building is completed, during the winter, the city's peak power demand will be within 10% of our total capacity. That's worrisome. Thanks, Bruce. And so, but we still have not heard from the Economic Development Administration about our request for that $3 million project. If we get that $3 million project and we complete that within a year, then our capacity goes from 14 megawatts to 20 megawatts, which only 6 megawatts increase, but that takes that 10% to more like 40%, assuming that we don't do any more expansions. So that's just letting you know where we're at with that. For this little community that's been at 2 megawatts for years, we're looking at 12.5 megawatts when this is all built out at peak. Now on wastewater, if you remember back in February, we agreed to $25,000 of repairs to the wastewater plant. Jacobs actually did it for $9,500, which is a good thing, but no good deed goes unpunished. The sequencing batch reactor blower number 1 variable frequency drive has failed. It's going to cost almost $5,900 to repair. I need your permission to take that $5,900 out of the remaining $25,000 so we can repair that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
We got to do it. The problem was we fixed, and then the next issue is the main pump station pumps. We part of that $9,500 we did corrected those pumps down there, but those pumps are so old that they are no longer supported. The one failed after 5 months, but the installer said it's based on warranty, so they're going to come back in and fix it. But so we're operating on one pump right now, and the second pump will need to get repaired. But after it's repaired, they said they're not going to touch them anymore. That there's no part, there's no service for it, and so what we're going to try and do is find somebody that will service it for the 2 years, because that's part of our wastewater facilities improvement plan is to replace those pumps, and we're just going to try and limp along until that happens. So that's why we're doing this project, is to repair all those things. We just hope things last a little longer. Reminder that our next council meetings, the next council meeting will be on November 25th. The 28th has been canceled, and the 11th is Veterans Day. Watch us on YouTube, like and share us on Facebook. Thank you for all you do.
I had a question. Thank you. The money for that, is that a place to even ask that question? The money that Skamania like to get us on the EMS? Where are we on that, or
We
are
have
we still kicking that around?
the city attorney crafted a response to them, and we have not heard anything.
Excellent. All right, so until we hear back from them, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions on this? All right, so Mayor and City Council comments. Bruce?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I would just like to say I'm still hearing a lot of positive buzz around the fire hall, so I'm really happy to hear that about it. I'd like to welcome Rose to the city.
Thank you.
And I was happy to hear about the bus service there and all the positive things about it, because that's essential our citizens that do have transportation issues, so I'm glad there's a system in place, so we need to offer as much support to them as we can. And I'm glad the food bank misunderstanding got cleared up. That was resolved pretty easily when everything came to light, so I'm happy about that. And I appreciate that the sewer plant operators are going to get a chance to look at the plan. I think that's real good, and I'd like to thank the warden for making sure that's in place. And as usual, I'd like to thank the staff for everything they do to make our life easier. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was good to have Patty come in and talk about the bus. I really do appreciate that. Saved my summer. Good to hear from citizens tonight. I enjoy it when people come and talk to council. Looking forward to the crosswalks. I know the post office area is very confusing. I am one of the people that park across the street and walk. And the crosswalk has bothered me for a long time, but it's not really a crosswalk, so I have to remember that when I'm crossing. I don't know if Martha will need help with moving tables and chairs. I'll come down and see if I can get some people. I know they probably can't do that.
We got that.
All right. That's a concern.
The wooden
I
tables
understand.
are really heavy, and we probably need to get rid of those and get the lightweight tables. Chairs are another issue, but you stack them.
Well, I volunteered down there last year and the year off and on, and I know it's a struggle for a lot of them to help out. So I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm really happy about the cat bus too. I think that's amazing. You know, when I talked to the driver, she was excited and she was happy with the summer how it went out. And the crosswalk issue for reals it's a nightmare. And I can see, you know, for older people and new people in town that realize, you know, that it is there, but it's not. It is. I struggle with it, even though I use it. And I will stop cars.
Oh, yeah.
And I do. It's just a habit that I've had because growing up here, I never knew it wasn't, and it's been there forever. So I'll go out there and I shouldn't. But yeah, I hope we can work with Martha because she brings a lot to the community. I mean, she does. She brings a lot to the community, and I don't like to see her that upset. I was just like, "Woo, Martha, wow, okay." But I've seen her upset before, though. But yeah, and as far as the fire department, that's awesome. I'm glad he's doing really good on that, bringing people in. And I hope, as far as the cat, maybe local businesses can work together to bring maybe a cup of coffee or a half price to bring people in. And I understand the grocery store thing too, because we don't all shop there either.
You got to figure it out.
You know, the prices are a little bit, we go there when we have, but yeah, I understand the struggle of having to shop local. But I hope that Martha gets settled, the cat works out. I hope, you know, maybe we could do group stuff with the kids, like movies. I was going to talk to Kristen about that, maybe doing a show for movies and stuff. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. Let's see. I think that's it. I'll have to come and meet the new worker here, and thank you guys for all your work.
I want to give my appreciation to Captain Logan. I just keep hearing positive things. We heard some more tonight. The young man's hit the ground running, and I appreciate his enthusiasm, and it looks like it's getting results, and so more power to him. I wish him the best of luck. The EMS activity, the issue with Skamania County, I hope we move forward and get that resolved. A lot of the things that we talked about In fact, all of them are tied to our infrastructure. And how important that is as the town develops and changes, it's all about the infrastructure. So to hear that our power capacity is going to be within 10% of the total is very bothersome. And so I know that we're working on that, but we need to double down whatever we're doing, because I know it's very hard, but
It's sitting in Washington DC on somebody's desk.
fire them up.
Okay?
We are in March. We'll see them in March.
Yeah. I want to thank the food bank. Sorry for whatever misunderstanding they got, but I want to reiterate how important their volunteer work is to the city and the community at large. That group of folks works very hard, and they've been doing it for years, and they're very helpful. So I was happy to see them up here, and the other folks in the audience that had questions. It's so much easier for me to come to a decision on things that are going on if I know what people are thinking. So I know it takes some effort to come down here and sit through some of this babbling, but I really appreciate it when people spend that time and come let us know what's on their mind. I noticed that I missed the last meeting, but the discussion on the airport. I personally am not a fan of turning the airport into a development area. I think there's other avenues and other properties that we can go about opening up before we do anything to the airport. I think that airport is very important for our emergency services. I think we saw some of that during the fire, and I don't know that there's any place else close. I don't think Stevenson's airstrip is anything compared to ours. So, I'd like to see it stay an airport. And thank you to staff and our new hire, Rose. Good luck, and that's all I have.
But sure.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention that, sometimes it takes unfortunate events to open our eyes and it'd be like a red flag, and I'm really pleased that the community has seen the importance of policing in our community. And I'm not saying that the ball was dropped. I think it was just something that just somehow got lost in the shuffle, like Bobby was saying earlier. And but now it's been brought to our attention, and we can make sure that whenever there's any planned power outage, that we can at least make sure that the community is protected, or in a better position to be protected. So. And then I also want to thank the community as a whole for their support for the fire department, EMS, and including the people that's members of the fire auxiliary. And I'd like to personally give a shout out to Jeff Zerfing for picking up the mantle of that and carrying it on, because I know the Renaults have been doing that for years, and I know they're getting up in age, and they are looking for somebody to carry the mantle, and I think that's really great that Jeff has stepped up to do that, and I want to thank Jeff for doing that for the community, and also for Jeff giving his support to the new fire station captain, John Logan. And I want to appreciate, show my appreciation for his efforts to recruit new volunteers. It's really good to see things taking shape, and seeing things happening. And then I also think, the transit is important for the community, and the businesses in town would greatly benefit from that. That's why I mentioned the tourism, because I thought that I never heard anybody mention that. I thought it might have been an oversight, but I don't know in what capacity our tourism committee could help, but I'm sure that there's something that they can do to help promote the new transit authority that's trying to set up through the gorge. Really appreciate that. And again, I want to thank the staff for making things go as easy as possible, because sometimes I know that the job can be thankless, and I know you guys get attacked a lot, and there's misunderstandings that, and having the people skills to deal with that is highly appreciated. Well, thank you for that. That's all I have.
I would like to thank the citizens that showed up. It's nice to have a full house here to talk about things that are bothering you or you have concerns about. Because if citizens don't come and let us know, we have no, we hear things, each one of us hear things, but not as a group like this. So it's good to have citizens come. And then Gordon, I would love to thank you for this activity report on our electrical and water projects, wastewater and stuff like that are going on. I hope we continue this. This is good to see. It's it just, when somebody says, well, they aren't doing anything. It's nice to be able to say, yes, they are. Right here. Now we know exactly what's going on. So thank you very much for that, and I want that to continue. That's good to let us know what's going on. And then I was at the dinner last night. I think it was last night. I'm losing time. And it wasn't as well. There weren't a lot of people, not like usual. But the people that were there were excited about the new station captain, and so am I. And, sometimes when one door slams on us, I was a big part of that. Another one opens up and it makes it better. So I encourage him to keep going. He's doing good, and it looks like they're enthused.
There's energy, yes.
The gentlemen and the ladies that are there, they're into it. So I was glad to see that. And then always the staff. I want to thank the staff. They do a great job.
Well, that was good for Happy Month.
Happy month. There you go.
Positive.
We got our quota in, right?
I would also like to thank you. That's exactly, I think, what Glenda and what the council was looking for, the Public Works Activity Report. I think that's exactly what they're, we can, so we need to continue that. That's well done. It tells what everybody's going on, and it's real short, concise, and just gets through it. So, really appreciate us getting into that mode there. I would just say too, on the airport, our discussion on the airport wasn't a discussion on whether we're closing the airport down or not. From the discussions we had on the airport, so it's good to have those discussions. The state aviation said, hey, there's pieces of this land out here that we can still run our airport, and we can pair off some area here for public use. And so the question was, how do we want to go at the public use? the port came in and gave some options of what they were looking at, and their options, and rightfully so, I agree with where Glenn, and so it's good that we had that, again, having discussions. They were looking at kind of packing things in, you know, Glenn had challenged them on that, or wanted to have a different letter put out. Not opposed to using that public land somehow. So what it still does is, there's still an opportunity for us to be able to use port land or airport land for public use. And the aviation, state aviation is in favor of that. They want to know how we want to go about using public and private out there. So yeah, it was good to have them talk about it, and that's where those debates came from. What they approached us with was more of a packed in area. I don't think any one of us. So I'm glad, Linda, you spoke up on it, because that, and you would have too. I guarantee you also would have. So what we're looking at now is how can we use that public? Not so much that there's not a discussion right now closing that down. Discussion is there's a piece that we might be able to use somehow publicly. So that's a good thing for us. So, and, you know, the post office on here, that, yeah, somebody plans those things out, how it was, we were used to it, everybody got used to the thing, and we're in that mode of we're still in the construction and mess and all that, and yeah, we need to take a look at how we're gonna make sure people are safe there, but like they say, that crosswalk is we've always used it, you know, and we painted it, but it's not a state, it's not a state crosswalk, so I guess we just do the best we can down. My suggestion to citizens is, be careful with that, be careful with that crosswalk, because frankly, people get hit at good crosswalks. And the people come through this town fairly, we got Wanapaw's a pretty wide street, and there's a lot of people who are looking around, are moving fairly quick. You really do have to be careful at any one of our crosswalks. You need to be careful in the town, and as it grows. As far as the block out now, in the last outage, did we have any issues? Because we've had the outage before. Did we have any
previous
issues?
outage, we've never had any issues.
Yeah, and growing up here, I've grown up with lots of outages. I've grown up here with not a lot of things going on, and that's where the outside world's catching up with us now. What happened here is not a common thing that happens in Cascade Locks, and that's probably why our guard was down. We're not used to something on that scale happening here. But now our guard will be up, and I hate that. I grew up in a small town. I grew up where I could live. When I was a kid, we left keys in our cars. We left our houses unlocked. Nope, we didn't have issues. But it's constantly becoming harder and harder. And this right here was a good example of, the outside world's out there, and a small town is not exempt from being taken advantage of, especially when you have to advertise it to people. You have to say, hey, we're going to have an outage. Okay, then the bad guys go. They planned on this one, and they nailed us. But with this council, with this administration, what you get stuck into is we roll over. This council and this administration is not going to get stuck on that type of thing again. But there's going to be new councils, there's going to be new administration. So hopefully we can make sure we pass on issues that can happen out here.
To Valerie's point, we call all the businesses. We're just going to add the sheriff's office to the bottom of that list, so that when we go through, there's a power outage. We'll just automatically put it on there and do that. And thank you for bringing that up. The problem this time, I think, was because it was BPA sponsored. We never thought about, we should have called the sheriff. We thought BPA should have, but again,
And they also changed it, remember?
yes, we were 1 week, and then it went to we had to be delayed a week, and that was
People
also.
had more time. Somebody had more time to think about it.
And comment? I know
Sure.
you're running late, that kind of thing, but I should have brought this up. It might be a good idea, I know in small towns rumors go, they get bigger and bigger, and so, I've heard a lot of rumors, but if somebody were to call the post office, and talk to them and give them a real story about what's going on in the parking lot, I think that would solve a lot of problems. I was told from one of the employees of the post office just the other day that the parking lot was put in the wrong way, that it was really supposed to be the big side over here, that somebody did it the opposite way, and that actually this was going to be a rest stop, just like you would see on the highway, a rest stop in 3 miles. And she said, I don't know where they're going to park big trucks. And so maybe if somebody wanted.
I would like to invite you back to my office and show you the design, how all those issues have been addressed. I'd be happy to do that. And none of that is true.
I didn't, to me, it didn't make sense. So that's why I really wanted to go to the post office. Maybe they could just let them know to put seats and stuff like that.
Well, we do have regular conversations with the post office, but apparently it's not translated correctly.
Well, it's not all post office land either. The post office land is only those parking spots next to the post office. Once you get beyond the parking spots, that's not post office.
And see, I've been told all along that it all belonged to the city.
No, to the city, right? So we got a middle area, and then the next building has a.
We own from the next to the old fire hall, that's curved, but there's a 20-foot easement for them for parking, and on the other side, there's a 20-foot, the land actually goes right up to the post office, but they have a 20-foot easement that they're responsible for. And so when this was a $200,000 project, we offered to pave that all for the post office at our expense, the city's expense. Now that it's a $425,000 project, we're regretting that issue, but we're going to pave it, but they're going to have to maintain it, and we're providing more. They've come in and asked for a new flagpole, so we're putting in a new flagpole. They've come in and asked for a concrete sidewalk out the back so that their carts can roll better from where the trucks will be. So we're going to be putting that in. The pergola is up. It looks beautiful. And we're putting up bathrooms on the corner that the PCT hikers can come in and take a shower before they come into our businesses, which we would all really appreciate. That's the business community is very in favor of that, but there are some citizens that have said, that's going to become a homeless place where people are, and so, some people are excited about. And the other thing is, right now, you have to have a passenger to put your mail into the mail slot that's on the curb. That'll be going at the end of the parking area so that you drive in and around. The driver can actually reach the post office.
What a novel idea.
And there'll be a light right there, and it'll all be lit. But again, it's going to take another couple months to complete, so we just ask for patience. So, but
And it still may not be perfect. It's still, I think the curve you're talking about, all that, I think that may still create some issues there, but we will see once it's all in, how everybody responds.
I know we've had some cars high center on the curbs.
The Pacific Trail thing there, does that have to be, as I understand, I've heard that has been moved to, are we moving it also?
There is a kiosk, for information kiosk for
No,
all
no,
traffic. The monument, yes, that'll be up towards the front of the property.
Okay.
And we're putting up the rock walls so that it's reminiscent of the historic highway. We're redoing all the benches in the back. It's all.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I agree. I agree, we got ourselves stuck into something.
I just want to take advantage of, I'm Preston Wright, my wife Shane, we live up top of Stong and Warm Spring. We built a little gray house up there. Anyway, last summer Gordon moved 2 stop signs for us. Instead of having the traffic coming up Warm Springs,
So
and having to stop at the top of Lawrence, and then the traffic used to be able to go up Winsome and go down to where those townhouses are or whatever at the bottom. Anyway, we had cement trucks doing 35, 40 miles an hour coming over that hill, and it was getting to the point where it was really getting scary just to back out of my driveway. And we had a bunch of kids that just kind of kitty cornered us down the hill on Winsome. Anyway, we got those stop signs, and I can't tell you how much safer we feel and how much slower the traffic's going.
Is it finally?
Yeah, it really is like a lot. And some guys still don't stop.
Yeah,
It's really been good, and I really appreciate.
Well, it took us
that.
longer than it should have, but got it done.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, there was a couple of times I just about got nailed, back down my driveway, so.
Thank you,
And
Chris.
it was very, very good. You guys did.
Thank you. So, other matters? Okay, we're open to adjournment then.
Make a
I
motion
believe,
to-
unless there's not executive session, is there?
You want one? No, there's not.
Make a motion to adjourn, Your Honor.
Second.
There's no second to adjourn, all in favor, say
Yes, thank you
aye.
for the use of your phone.
You betcha. I'll send you a bill.
Hey, have a good trip, man.
Okay.